I'm here with Anezakis, seventh seat of the Oxford Women's Blue Boat, and a fellow Australian. Annie, welcome to Hear the Boat Sing.
Thank you. It's very exciting to be here virtually.
Where are you right now? You're in London, but where?
We are actually hosted in Wimbledon right now. I was about to say Wimbledon, which is where we were on camp in January, but I'm very glad to not be there anymore because it was freezing and snowing. But we are in Wimbledon in our host house, which is about 15 minutes away from Putney.
So that's not too far a commute, just enough time to sort of...
Yeah, enough to like unwind on the bus, then you get back to the house and can kind of chill out and leave all the rowing back on the championship course. Nice and far away.
There is something really strange and different about, when the team moves into one house and they're staying there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that whole experience can make or break your week. It really can, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really working in our favor right now. I think up until this point, everyone's kind of been not doing their own thing, but everyone's off doing their different courses and all in really different parts of Oxford until we kind of unite at training every day. But it's nice to have this 1 week where we're all just here. We can kind of have dinner together, lunch, breakfast, and we get in each other's hair a little bit, but in a good way, I think. And yeah, it's working well so far. It's nice being able to have time for meetings and just chatting about our race plan and things like that. It's a good way of facilitating that.
Now, the big question that every rower asks, what's the food like?
Oh, it's good. It's been so good, actually. We've had our parents are coming in and cooking most of the dinners. Our host is incredible. Her name's Dee. She's actually one of Andy's friends, but she's been chefing up. She's done some truffle mac and cheese. She did a chili night for us the other night. Her daughter's made us an amazing guacamole. So yeah, we've been spoiled, very, very spoiled. We're eating well.
These are the important things, right? These are the important things.
Going from lightweight to heavyweight, it's the most important thing.
Yes. Except, of course, if you're a Cox, because you just never eat anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, Joe's been well fed, I think, I will say. So his dad cooked for us last night, a nice moussaka, actually, nice Greek touch.
You felt at home.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, your parents over there, or are they going to be watching from Australia?
They're coming over, actually. They'll be here from Saturday. So the day before, I might get a sneaky visit and then, won't see them until after the race, probably.
Right. What's the evening entertainment? I mean, everybody forgets that a crew has to actually do something in the evening. Most people see the crew train and they don't think about you've got 9 people living in a house or whatever. Yeah. What's your evening entertainment?
We honestly, the last few nights it's been so much rowing all day long until dinner time that everyone kind of just completely decompresses after dinner time and people kind of split to all different parts of the houses. But we have had a plan for weeks that we all really want to watch Troy as a boat because we have it in the boathouse in the Topolsky room. It's just sitting there on the DVD player and we always want to watch it, but have never had enough time to. So we're really dedicated to finding a night this week that we're going to watch Troy. It's a bit of, I don't know, motivation somehow. A weird kind of motivational movie.
I'm not sure how motivational it is. At least it's
on the winning side.
I remember we used to stay in London for one crew I was in, and we used to play a game called Sorry, which was endless entertainment because it was all understood that there was one chap that everybody would pick on in the game.
That's good fun.
It was a lot of fun for everybody except him.
Yeah, it makes sense. Him.
How did you make your way from Melbourne to Oxford?
Not the most direct route, that's for sure. I'd say it was probably more from Melbourne to the States to Oxford, if anything. But I ended up in the States after we won my national championship in high school in the 8. And from
that, had St. Catherine's in Melbourne, correct?
Yeah, St. Catherine's in Melbourne. Had a bunch of recruiters to the States, was not even considering that. You know, the big Greek Australian in me was a very big homebody, was never going to leave my family. That was like way too big of a move to leave home. And my parents were kind of like, you're not going to America. But anyway, after a few months, had signed up with Princeton and off I went. And then from Princeton to Oxford was kind of, I'd say COVID had a big role because my junior year was completely cancelled. Racing was cancelled like the day before it was meant to start, basically. And then my senior year was great, but our league kind of fell apart a little bit with COVID. You know, the lightweight rowing is pretty small, and I mean, it's a lot bigger in the States, but it's still like there's only 7-8 teams in our league. So it wasn't, we won obviously, which was exciting, but it wasn't the full complete college experience. So I was kind of like, I want one more, you know, year of rowing before I'm done. And
only one. You're only 22. Come on, come.
I know, but my body's falling apart. And well, not actually, but I don't know. I think I want to go to med school after this, and I feel like it's kind of time to get going with that. And at home, it's kind of hard to do both, I think. So,
but there are some great Australian doctors who've rowed at a very high level. David Rose, for example, Blue Boat.
Yeah, there are a lot, but I think that was before the National Training Centre was formed, and now you kind of have to be. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think that's really. I mean, obviously, it's any rower's dream to represent their country, but I think I'm more set on getting to med school and just having full commitment to that. Like, we have Anastasia on our team who is doing medicine at the same time as rowing, and looking at her doing that juggling act, it's insane.
And she is incredible. She is incredible, isn't she?
She's insane. She's amazing. She's absolutely amazing. She's a massive inspiration. I'm so glad to have met her this year. But yeah, I think 5 years of student athlete life is enough for me.
So how was the entry process to Oxford? How did it work?
So I started in December of last year, when I was actually visiting Oxford because I couldn't get home for Christmas, and my boyfriend lives over here. So I was visiting him, and I saw Oxford and I was kind of like, oh God, like this is amazing. Maybe I'll just apply and see what happens. And so I got in contact with the team, and James, our assistant coach, put me in contact with a few people, and chose a course that I was interested in, and basically applied by the end of January, February, maybe. And it was kind of just a lot of, you know, I had an interview, and writing the personal statement was definitely the biggest part of that, just perfecting that, and then transcripts, CV, etc. And then I actually got my offer, but it went through to my junk email, so I didn't see it for a week or two actually. And I was on FaceTime with my mom, and I was like, Mom, I'm not going to get into Oxford. Oh no, what a disaster. And she was like, Annie, have you checked your junk mail? And I was like, oh no, I haven't. And so I checked my junk mail, and there it was. And I was on FaceTime with my mom at the time, and I just started bawling my eyes out. I was like, I'm going. And it was just quite a funny way for that to happen, because, you know, my mom's obsessed with all of this stuff as well. So it was funny.
But here's the question I've got for you. When you first arrived in Oxford, before you applied, did you feel a certain frisson when you sort of came into the town, and, you know, the dreaming spires and everything? What was it like?
It's crazy. I mean, I arrived and I was walking around with my boyfriend. He also went to Princeton. And I was just kind of like, you know, Princeton's amazing, and you walk around Princeton and you're kind of blown away as well. But you get to Oxford and it's just like, these buildings are hundreds of years older even than Princeton. And it's like, how is this real? Like, you know, David was explaining to me like, oh, this building's from the 1300s, and this is from this year and this year. No. And I was just like, how am I here? Is this even a real place? And it's just so beautiful. And just like, I remember walking past like Christchurch, for example, and being like, oh, this building, like it must be, you know, like a dining hall or administrative buildings. Like, what is this? And he was like, no, that's just where students live. And I was like, what? Like, imagine being a little undergraduate living in this insane building. Yeah, it's crazy. Like the history, you can just feel it when you walk around. It's crazy.
You really, I mean, I think coming from Australia, we really do feel it. But I mean, Oxford isn't even Camelot, it's Avalon, you know, it's a place beyond the mist,
Yeah,
you know, the
absolutely.
place of once and future kings. It's not for people like us from Australia, it doesn't seem real, does it? It just seems like a dream world.
Absolutely. There's nothing like it at home. Absolutely not.
No. And I don't think there's really much like it anywhere else in the world, not even in America, right?
Yeah. No.
It's a really, really special experience, and very few people are privileged enough to have it, and lucky too.
Yeah.
Lucky too, right?
Yeah.
I always say that I managed to crawl in through a very low door and a very high wall.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And the other thing, when people arrive at Oxford, often they think that they're pretty clever. And then they realize actually that they're not that clever at all, because there are all these other people who are far cleverer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the conversations you'll have with people, it's just kind of like, what? How am I here? I don't know. Just this, the standard is a whole nother level, the intellect and academic curiosity, one might say. But yeah, it's cool. It's very, very cool.
Now, I've got only one hard question for you, which is this: in anything great, any great institution has a number of quintessential truths, because otherwise it's not a great institution. From your point of view, what is the quintessential truth about Oxford that strikes you?
I think, we kind of just touched on this, but it is the way that the university is so steeped in this deep, deep history and tradition. And that's something that you actually experience on the day-to-day. It's, I think everyone says a lot, Oxford is the second oldest university in the world, and it's so old and it's so beautiful and this, that, and all the rest. But, that is the reality. And you feel it when you walk around, in those traditions and all the people that came before you in the history of Oxford, they have an impact on your day-to-day at Oxford. And I think you experience that a lot being on the rowing team, because I think being a part of OUW, every day we think about, the trailblazers that set up our club years and years and years ago, and they still have an impact on the club today. And then even in the present, you have people like Anastasia that were on the team 4 or 5 years ago and had the first race on the Tideway, and last race in Henley and won the first race in the Tideway and won it 4 times and this and that. So you get to, I don't know, it's a cool interaction. And I think even for us, it's now our time to make our mark in that really long Oxford history. We might be the last OUW before the club merger, if that happens sometime in the near future. So we might be the last OUW to potentially win a boat race, and just stuff like that. It's kind of cool to know that you're contributing to that legacy and that big Oxford history that Oxford is so famous for.
And the difference between an Oxford-Cambridge match and any other university is that people write books about this. And it does go down in history, and it is remembered. Yeah. That brings a big burden too.
Definitely. It's a lot. It's a different kind of pressure, I guess, than I've ever experienced in my rowing career. I think I've thought about this a lot. I think, rowing at Princeton in a lightweight program, there was only 7, 8 other teams, and it meant a lot to us at the time, and obviously the history of our team, but it's not on the same scale as the boat race that has, a national and international following and media and this huge history. And so it's a different set of nerves almost that I haven't actually experienced before, of, oh my gosh, all these people are watching and this result's going to go down in history and people are going to look back at it. So you kind of have to come with terms with that a bit as well.
Definitely. Now, obviously there's one thing to get into Oxford, and there's another thing to make it into the Blue Boat. And in between, there's this thing called selection.
Yes.
Now, has selection changed since my day? Is it still as ruthless as it was?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for people who've not been through the program, how ruthless is selection? Just explain it.
Yeah. Well, there are lots of different elements that go towards selection, but There's lots of erg testing. So I think we did like 3 5Ks throughout the season. There's one when you first get to Oxford, which was by far the most intimidating for me because I was kind of like, I've just come from a lightweight program. I don't really know where I'm going to fall in an open weight squad. And then we have a lot of seat racing. So that's when you have 2 boats side by side, obviously, and you kind of swapping people and doing direct racing to kind of get a ranking order of people's speeds in the boat. And then I know the coaches also look at a lot of other factors outside of, I mean, the erg scores and the seat racing are the 2 biggest, I guess, direct data points, but I think the coaches look as well a lot at like how people are moving the boat in training and how well people respond to technical coaching and adopting the club model of, you know, our stroke or technique. And yeah, compatibility, I know they say a lot, so how well a boat gels together and how, you know, people are moving together. But yeah, that's probably a summary of all the different things that go into selection. But obviously it's the mental element as an athlete is really hard because you're going up against your teammates and people that you're really close with when you're outside of the boat. And then when you get in the boat, it's like, okay, this is competition. I want to beat you because I want my seat in this boat. And yeah, it's hard to know what's going on inside the coaches' minds, even though they are very transparent, obviously, and they have to be. But yeah, you always want to know, am I in or am I out? And yeah.
There is a great degree of tension that you don't get in any other process. And you also have that the first 4 weeks is sort of like a great winnowing because, you know, you can be cut at any time in the first 4-5 weeks. After you've gone through 4 or 5 weeks, they've got, you know, enough people for 3 boats or something like that. You're not sort of subject to instant execution.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think the selection to begin with was, I think we cut only 2 to 3 people, honestly, because we've actually kept, we had a spare of a 4 spare. I don't know, they raced the other day. So that was nice. It's good having a more full squad. I think we've had a really, there's a lot of depth in the team. And, you know, that's why people weren't cut, was because people that were at, you know, the other end of the squad were still really competitive with people in Osiris and whatnot. So that's really lifted the whole squad this year. I think like people in Osiris have been pushing people in the blue boat, and that's really important for the squad dynamic as well. So, and overall success, definitely. But yeah.
How is Andy Nelder bringing together such an international crew as yours? I mean, you've got people from Canada, the US, Britain, Australia. I mean, it's a very international crew, and you've all had different rowing techniques and preparations. How is Andy melding that into one?
I think from day one, he's kind of just said, this is the stroke we're rowing. I'm happy for you to, you know, question it. Tell me what you think. I'll have a response for you if I agree or if I don't agree. And if I don't agree, this is why. And if I do agree, we will change some element of what we're doing. So it's been a very open dialogue between athletes and coach, definitely, but he is very adamant on how he wants us to row, which I think is really important because, you know, at the end of the day, we all have to be rowing the same stroke, and people have to leave their past behind them and know that they've come to a new program and this is the way we're rowing. There's no single correct way to row a boat, obviously. And I think as athletes, we've all been very open-minded about that as well, and very willing to make small changes to make sure that we're all doing the same thing. And I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
Well, hopefully have indeed. I mean, Andy's got an extraordinary track record. Yeah. And that's surely got to give you a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I've spoken with a few other people from, you know, past Oxford boats, and every time we chat about Andy, they all just say, oh, Andy, he's just gets everyone to row the same. He's so good at getting 8 people on a boat to just do the same thing, move together and move a boat. And I'm like, yeah, guess you're right. So yeah, definitely. Everyone's got very good things to say about Andy always. So it's been really awesome being coached by him this year, definitely.
Well, we've only got a few days. I know you've got to get ready to go off to training. So I've just got one question to finish with. And my question is this: win or lose, What do you want people to know about your blue boat?
Win or lose? I think this blue boat is, I think what we've been really proud of as a boat is that we've brought people in. I guess I kind of just touched on this, but we've brought people in from all different backgrounds, and people like me that have just done college level, and then people that have come from the Olympics and national teams. And I think we're all really on the same page, and we're all really committed to winning this race, but we're also all really humble about that. I think we respect our opponent, and we're going to go into this race and just give it our absolute everything. We're very open-minded about what can happen on the day, and we're so committed to winning this race for Oxford and making all of past OUW rowers really proud of us, and hopefully open doors for more women and girls in the future to come row for Oxford. And I think we just want to, make our mark in Oxford women's rowing history. Even though we've all come from such diverse places, we're all really committed to this team and focused in on one goal, and that's winning the boat race for Oxford. Sorry, that was a very all over the shop answer, but lots comes to my mind when I think about this boat.
Well, at the risk of being partisan, I really hope that you achieve your dream. And
Thank
good
you.
luck on Sunday, and we will be watching you.
Thank you. Thank you for chatting with me. And yeah, I'm excited.